Let's get it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Bryan with DD214 Transport. Please like, subscribe, hit the little bell for notification. It is Wednesday. We are here and we're going to get real tonight. So that's the plan anyway. We're going to be talking about, what's really happening out there in the market. And, if you don't get nothing else from this channel, you're going to get the straight scoop. So before we get diving into that, let's go through our weekly information. And first and foremost, we want to thank our veterans and first responders. Please like, subscribe. Listen, these guys, we lost 8 today. We lost 8 in an Osprey crash in Japan. And like I've said before, whether it is in wartime or in peacetime, these guys are in harm's way. So do us a favor and send your thoughts and prayers out there to those families that lost their loved ones. We want to thank the veterans and first responders. We would not be the country we are without you. Wounded Warrior Project, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Those are the charities of our choice. If you can help us help them, thank you very much. You go to the Patreon site. Gas prices, guys. Gas prices are coming down. Average of $4.14.6 per gallon for fuel. That's down another 6 3/10 cents from a week ago. And I know I'm rushing through this, but we were wide open right here before we got started, so my adrenaline's rushing a little bit. All right, so listen to this. Gas prices, and this is gasoline, but it affects everything. But gas prices are now below $3 in 14 states. So it says gas prices have fallen for 60 consecutive days, the longest streaks of declines in more than a year. Let American drivings pass the savings on from the pump to the consumer retailers during the U.S. Holiday seasons. So, yeah. So, now, prices getting close to a strong pre-pandemic period. All right. So, what they're talking about here are trucks. Big trucks, 18-wheelers. The prices, like I said, you guys that follow me on a weekly basis, you can track what I've been saying. And here in this particular article, it just says point blank, there are still too many trucks chasing too little freight. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So, I think these truck prices are getting to the point where they may be pretty close to bottoming out for the semis. Let me pop this real quick. But understand, for the Hotshot community, with class 5s, 35, 45, 5500, 354, 55, 54s, on these, the prices are being artificially held higher by the manufacturers and the dealers. It's the only reason. And the only reason to do anything with that is to leave them sit. And they'll have to come down eventually when nobody's buying them. So, yeah. All right. FMCSA, guys, you got to take a hard listen to this. This is pretty damn serious. FMCSA warned drivers who drug test positive will lose their CDLs. You're not just going to keep your CDL like it is now and go on to a prohibited driving status until you get your back to work situation taken care of. You are actually going to lose your CDL and not be issued a learner's permit or anything until you go through the back to work process. Now, I'm sure you've heard me talk about this on many occasions, but the CBD oil that will cause you to pop positive is considered a positive. It doesn't matter if it's legal. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's positive, you're positive. And it says in this article that federal trucking regulators have issued a warning that late next year, truck drivers that test positive for drug use will not only be placed on the prohibited driving status, but will actually lose their commercial driver's license and not be issued learning permits until they have completed the federal back to work process. So, they're taking a hard stance on this and saying no. So watch what you're doing. CBD oil, guys, I did a video on this. Even though you can buy it over the counter or in a head shop somewhere and it's legal, it can still pop you positive. And if it pops you positive, you're going to lose your driver's license, your commercial driver's license. Okay. All right. Picture of the week. That's for me. Guys, I went out and did a run. I picked up those two go buggies. That's what I call them. I don't know what they are, some kind of Polaris, something or other. But guys, look at that. Those things are $38,000 a piece. One was 33 and one was 38. But look, that's what it is. So shocked me, man. I was like, damn. But that white stuff, let me just tell you, it was 28 degrees and blowing snow. And I thought I was about to freeze to death because I was not really prepared for that because he wasn't calling for it. And there it is. All right. Under the hood this week. Look here. I ran a load. I did. So under the hood, guys, under the hood, I still run loads. You start looking around, I'm out there running loads. This week, strategic planning for 2024. That's what we're working on this week. We have got to get everything lined up as to how we're going to deal with the challenges that 2024 is going to bring and the best way to get through them. That's what we're working on. All right, here's something. Don't forget, which you should have, but you need to plan on spending some of your maintenance reserve, picking up your consumables. For example, I bought air filters, or I'm planning to buy air filters, oil filters, that kind of thing, so that I'll have them ready to go next year. Okay, I'm not going to burn all of it, but I am going to use some of it for consumables. All right, Hotshot Trucking Live with Bryan. We're doing a reality check tonight. And, I would like to sit here and tell you all that is well, but all is not well. We lost a driver today, mainly because freight sucks. It sucks. And you're going to have the only drivers we lose are normally the drivers that say, well, it's just not worth being out here. And that may be true. It may be true. we don't normally lose drivers that are so over leveraged that that they can't make it. But things I want to go into with you tonight, and we're going to take a hard look at this stuff. And go ahead and ask your questions now, because when I stop talking, I don't want to wait for questions. Oh, yeah, let me show you this real quick. Here you go. Before I get into that, get that load. That's what I ran into. My Bessie was not happy at all. So, I know you've heard me say it, and I don't want to be a broken record here. So I'm going to say hi to everybody real quick. There's Ralph. Could be just me and you. There's Kyle. We got West Texas Gooser, Tom Peeble. Who else we got? Yeah, there's 27 of us on here. So hey, everybody, yell at me. So whether we've had in the last 3 weeks about 12 people a week call us to lease on or come in under dispatch. And I have told all of them, no, we're not taking anybody on right now. And we're not taking anybody on right now because of the market. I feel like if we do that, we're going to be feeding on ourselves. So things I want you to realize and understand is that hotshotting is not a job. And I've said this a million times. A couple guys called me this week and said, hey, I want to get into hotshot. I want to drive a hotshot. And they say it so nonchalant. But you have to realize that you are starting a business. Whether you are leasing on to somebody or you're getting your own MC, either way you go about it, you are starting a business. And if a business is not what you want to start, then don't get in this business, because that's what you're going to start. And things you want to realize is starting any business, you have to mind your P's and Q's and understand. How many times have you heard me say you got to get in this business right? Because you're going to have to survive these types of downturns. This type of downturn in the market. Now, a few comments that's been made I'm going to address, but a lot of whining and bitching, and not just from my guys, but just over the internet, over just people talking about, how bad the market is and all of this stuff. Well, guys, when you start a business, it has to be able to survive every market, the good and the bad. It's not the shipper. I'll tell you now, the shipper doesn't give a shit about your profit margin. They've got their own profit margin to worry about. The broker's got overhead and doesn't have to, they don't give a shit about your profit margin. So what we're looking at is we're looking at people now who piled into this thing, thinking that this was all going to be easy money. They're over leveraged and they're unable to tighten their belt and survive this downturn, or unwilling to. The gentleman that left, which we have no hard feelings that he left. We get it. He obviously got into business for the wrong reason, simply because he was too easy to get out of. Oh, it's not worth it. It's not worth being away from home. But you should have factored all that in prior to getting into the business. I got great drivers out there, great guys that I work with that are making it happen. Still, it's not easy. They're not making as much as they were, but they're still out there and they're still doing it. And as long as they're there, we'll be here to help them. And now, again, until things straighten out, we're not looking to bring anybody else on. And when we do bring somebody else on, things will be different, believe me, because you have to realize that we, or DD214, where's it at? DD214 takes a risk. Anytime you bring an owner op on, you are taking a risk because you're taking this name and putting it on their vehicle. And if they act a fool or they can't or they don't want to work, then what happens is the risk starts outweighing the reward. Okay. If we bring here's another thing that I'm looking at is I want to know the finances of the people we're going to bring on next time. When we start leasing back on, and we will, but when we do, we're going to take a look at the finances. I'm going to look at their company and see how they look and see if they're buried in debt. Because if they're buried in debt, it doesn't do me any good to bring them on and watch them struggle. If drivers can't get into this the right way, which right now it's really tough to get into it in any way, but because interest rates are so high, class 5 trucks are so high that it's painful. Now, if we start looking at leasing people back on, I had a guy call me yesterday. Was it yesterday? He was like, yeah, man, I want to drive a Hotshot. I'm like, really? He said, yep, I'm going to drive a Hotshot. I said, well, are you a veteran? Nope. I said, okay. I said, what kind of equipment do you have? Well, I don't have a trailer, but I got an F-250, 2014 F-250 pickup. And I'm like, that's not going to work for you, brother. We don't lease on that. You're going to need a 1-ton, 40-foot trailer, a CDL, which he didn't have. So these people were still out there. I don't know what channels they're looking at that they're still drifting in thinking now's the time to pile into this thing. Right now, if you're in it, you just hold on until it gets better. You're not going to excel, do wonderful big numbers. You're not going to do any of that right now. So understand that you are not just becoming a driver. You are becoming a business owner, and you have to understand that. When you own a business, it is your responsibility if you make money. It's your responsibility if you don't make money. I'm going to say this. I hope the kid that said it to me is listening, but he's actually a DD214 driver. And we were talking about a load he was running, and he said, yeah, man, that would have been a really good load if you hadn't took your percentage out of it. And I kind of thought a minute, and I just laughed. But later on, I continued to think about it, and I'm like, man, if I hadn't have took my percentage out of it, there wouldn't have been a load. Wouldn't have been a pretty good load. Wouldn't have been anything. So, yeah, think about that. I've had a lot of response about people thinking that this is a get-rich-quick scheme of some sort. And let me tell you something. These drivers out there bust their asses. Listen, I was in 28-degree weather chaining down those two strapping down those 2 go buggies, I'd have froze my ass off before I got it done. Straps were not being cooperative. But, you know, I love this business, and I want this business to get back on its feet, or this industry to get back on its feet. And it will, but it's going to take a little time. There's going to have to be a whole lot of these guys go to the house. I'm going to tell you now. It's and it's okay. Yeah, it's they have to go to the house because there's not enough meat out here for everybody. I've been telling you guys that for years. I wish I could sit here and say that I didn't know this was coming, but I sat there and watched it. You can see it when you're in this industry and you're working with it every day and you see what's happening. It's something. It is something. So, all right, let's turn this over to the floor. We have no comments tonight. Well, damn, I was really thinking this was going to be an off-the-wall commenting section. But I want you guys to just think about this a minute. And if you're thinking this is some kind of money get rich quick scheme, or you can just hop in a truck and go, that's not what this is all about. You got the YouTubers out there, and don't get me wrong, I've posted some money that we made in the beginning, but I soon quit that because I realized to help people, you got to give them the truth. You can't put a carrot in front of their face and not let them know that, hey, by the way, the carrot's over quicksand. You know, if you don't do it right, you might get the carrot one time, but you're going to sink in that damn hole right there. You know, we got hard chargers out there that are making things happen. Everybody's pushing. Everybody's working as hard as they can to keep the trucks rolling. And it's tough. It's tough. You know, we are definitely in the bottom end. I think we're toward the bottom end of it, but I think we're going to drag along this bottom for a while until all these people decide it's not worth it and gets out. That's just sort of where I think we're at. So, you know, getting real is something you have to be honest with yourself and tell yourself that, you know, either I'm in this thing now and I'm going to wait it out, or I can't wait it out and I got to get out. But, you know, once you're in it, it's especially when you go out there and you've bought a truck and a trailer and all this other stuff, it's hard, man. And you have to suck it up and just realize that, you know, times will get better. May not be today. It's not going to be tomorrow. Thursday and Friday don't look good either, but you know, it's going to happen. We have to absorb all of this extra trucks. We got to get rid of them. All these people that just jumped into it for quick cash, thinking that, you know, this was just a way to do it and we're going to make a bunch of money and get out. They just need to go. That's just all there is to it. There is no good way around it. We got questions, comments, suggestions? I'm paying close attention to you, sir. Hey, Joseph Catlin. Yes, sir. Please listen, because I am not playing. You know, think about it. We got a driver who's got, you know, some of the best dispatch, some of the best back end support, is catching as much money as anybody in the market. And he quit today because it wasn't worth it. It's not worth it because you can't get it. There's not enough freight out there. And understand this too. All of you need to understand. Thanksgiving through Christmas, it's holiday season. Okay? Holiday season. So when things suck and stuff gets a little hard, these people that jumped in this stuff for the wrong reason or didn't get into it the right way are going to falter. This is when they're going to go away. And this is what I'm listening to, and this is what I'm watching. So, yeah, Joseph, I hope that helped you out, buddy. You pay close attention and watch what's going on and listen. So, if you don't have a CDL yet, now's the time to go do it. Now's the time to study. Now's the time to be prepping for the next good term if you're not in it. Don't go getting in it now. It's the craziest shit I ever heard. Look at everything and, judge it. Look at the freight. Look at what's out there, what's happening in the economy. People, guys, it is a brutal market right now. So understand that. And if you haven't got in, don't. Just don't. If you are thinking about getting in, don't go get a damn MC. That's crazy because that stuff, that money, one, you got to pay that money up front. Okay, so you've got an upfront expense. Then to keep that MC alive, you've got to keep insurance on or it dies. So find somebody and nobody I know out there right now is willing to lease on. Nobody I know right now is willing to take on a company as dispatch. So everybody think about this. There used to be a guy named Shaggy, and Shaggy did dispatch training, compliance, brokerage training, setting up, all this stuff. He did all this stuff, and he's gone. He shut down. Why? It's not worth it anymore. It's not worth it. Not even on that side of it. It's not worth it. So just listen. Listen. I asked Mila today. I said, is anybody hearing me out there? She says, well, everybody's in their own frame of mind. And they just they hear what they want to hear. And you can hear what you want to hear, but I want to tell you, if you don't listen to people who are in the industry telling you what's what, then you're going to FAAFO, babe. That's all I can tell you. If you don't know what that means, it stands for fuck around and find out. All right, do we have another question? I agree with you. Let's see, Facebook user. I don't know who this is. I agree with what you're saying. Everyone and their brother jumped in, figured they could make a lot of money and not have to work. Never is. Business, you work more than exactly. That's the other thing. The first thing about starting a company, they tell you never to start a company if you need a paycheck. Don't do it. If you're looking and you need a paycheck, you're in the wrong business. Don't start a company because you are the last one to get paid. And you've got to remember that as a business owner, you are the last one to get paid. Okay. So this is a wonderful business. I want you and Hotshot or trucking, if you can survive just being away from home and can survive the ebbs and flows, it's a great industry. I love it. I've done it for a long time and I love it. So, yeah, thank you. Mr. Price. Well, let me just give me an example. Give you an example. Back when it was pounding freight, you had loads booked on loads. You had a load booked when this load dropped. You never set a lot. Now, you may set all day, get a load, drive 300 miles for no money, for 500, 600 bucks, then have to set another day to find another load. That's what I'm talking about, Carlton. Carlin, I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep calling you that, Mr. Price. You're going to smack me in the head next time you see me. But that's the difference. And even in the freight, when freight is just average freight, um, it's not like this. It's just not. This is as bad as I've ever seen it. So on a good day, or let's go this way, on the worst day, you would do a load a day. Now you're looking at a load every other day, maybe 2 loads every other day, and it's not good, man. It's just not. And I looked in the market here, Charlotte. Okay, normally you can pick up loads over the weekend, over the Thanksgiving Day weekend. You can pick up a load that's hot freight. It's got to go. When I got it to looking, I started looking around on everything I could find, and I found 3 loads coming out of Charlotte that was considered hot freight. What was the highest? 76, 78 cents a mile. All of them were partials, but they had to go now. So that's what you're looking at. Okay. I hope that helped you out, Mr. Price. I'm okay. I'm doing okay and staying fairly local. Good for you. Good for you. It's not the best, but I'm making the best of it. And that's the attitude you got to have, Ian. You got to have that attitude to survive. When people quit, when people say it ain't worth it, it's because they got in expecting to bang this shit out every week. Every time they go out, they're going to hit a grand slam. It's going to be off the big green wall. And that's not the way it is. And you have to make the best of it. You have to be able to tighten your belt. You got to keep room in there to tighten that belt and say, look, I got to just, look, there's a saying, and that saying is this: just one more day. I'm not going to quit today. I'm going to make it one more day. And that is a mental thing. That's a mental thing that you got to get in your head. Now, if you're financially sinking, you can't make that happen. Okay? If you're going down the tubes because you're over leveraged, get out of the business. I'm telling you now, my guys, everybody else, if you're over leveraged and you're sinking, cut bait and go to the house. Do us all a favor. Stop struggling. So I know these are harsh words, but these are the factual words that if you're over leveraged and you are literally losing money by running a load, guys, every load, no. What else you got? Did the double broker situation ever work out in your favor? I believe that it's over at this point. Basically, everything that they did, we just countered. And I don't think double brokering works out in anybody's favor. I really don't. So everything they tried to do, we countered. And, it was all recorded. It was all sent to the proper authorities. So, again, I don't think that anybody wins in this situation. The time I spent on trying to chase it down and deal with all of it, I'll never recoup that kind of stuff. So, no, that's as good as that gets.
Cancer.
It is a cancer. Yeah, it's a cancer on the industry. Mr. Silverback. All right, brother. Bryan, what is your take on car hauling? Look, if you've got knowledge on car hauling, do that. That is not my gig. And if you look at any of if you look at the car industry as a whole right now, it is tanking bad. All these like CarMax and what do you call it, Carvana, all those people were buying all these cars at the top of the market. I saw something the other day where the guy went in, he looked at maybe it was a Toyota something other, and that Toyota priced at CarMax with 14,000 miles on it was higher than a brand new one at the dealership. So I think the car industry is in trouble. Now, car hauling, different industry, but it's tethered to that industry. The reason I don't do car hauling as a whole is I've never done it. And I think that there's a lot of night driving with it where you're running all night long and you got to be at the dealership or at the auction first thing in the morning. And that just doesn't suit me. Now, if you get into it and you love it, but find you somebody in the car hauling business that knows what they're talking about. And I am not that guy. Okay. So I would definitely research it if you're looking into it and and go from there. That's the best I can do for you, man. I wish I could be more help. What you got, girl? Some days I make $1,000, other times I make $1,000 a week. It's up and down. You're right, Gene. It's up and down. And this market right now is going to be up and down. Man, and just to make it even worse is we're in this holiday season. And that just sucks. So you're just going to have to be out there hustling. And that's all you can do. You're guaranteed not to haul any loads while you're sitting around at the house. You know, if you're not out on and your dispatcher's not actively looking for you something, you're guaranteed not to get a load. So, Gene, man, I wish you the best. And, keep the rubber on the ground, brother. What else you got? That's the key to making it in the industry right now is learning how to work around the market and adjust your expenses and lifestyle to said market. I could be wrong. It's absolutely correct. West Tex Gooser. Hey, man, you're absolutely correct. You have to work the market because the market sucks. So you have to be able to tighten your belt and survive it. If there's going to be days when you just tread water and you just make it through the next day. But there's also going to be days where you have good days. And then again, eventually this will settle out. We're going to have the ones that got into this thing, either got into it wrong, like I say, over leveraged, or got into it thinking they had a quick buck with just driving a truck. Neither of those are true. And they will go away. And as they go away, things will get better. And that's as good as it's going to get for now. So really, that's really good stuff right there, Gooser. Thank you. That's it. All right. So I want to thank everybody for showing up. I want you guys to understand that we're here to help if we can, and understand that, you got to love your family because it's all you got. And if you don't love your family, get on the road and make some damn money. Do one or the other. All right. It's Bryan with DD214. Thanks so much. Like, subscribe, hit the little bell for notification. If you need me, call me. I do still answer my phone. Have a good one. Bye.